All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Lost Legion. I am your host, JR. I got my two co-hosts with me, Daniel and Jose. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Yo, yo.
So today, a lot of things that we want to talk about, a lot of things to go over. First things I'm going to throw out there is the Shatterpoint. They just revealed Obi-Wan. I don't know, did you guys get a chance to look at his cards and everything?
no, I didn't.
Yeah, so I love and hate Jedis right now in Shatterpoint because when you shoot at them, they have this move, and in case of Obi-Wan, it's not hello there, something else, and you just instantly do damage back to them. And it's so good, and that's what Jedi should be. And I feel like that's what Jedi should be in Legion as well. But like my Sith side, like
But not in Shatterpoint.
yeah. Let's not do that because like the Sith aren't the same. At least that I know of the two Sith that are in Shatterpoint. But yeah, it looks really cool. Looks really fun. So can't wait to play him. But moving on to more important news, we got some minor reveals for Ewoks.
I missed this.
Yeah, well, I think we already
Oh,
addressed
no.
it.
I understand about. Sorry, I'm behind.
So they went up for pre-order, and you know how everybody wants to read the description, dissect every little thing to just see what's going to come out with. And so going over they're called the Ewok Warriors, the core box. The things that I noticed, I don't know if you guys got a chance to notice, is that there's going to be 6 in the mini, as we know. And then for the heavy weapon slot, is going to be an axe Ewok. And then for the personnel slot, it's going to be a trapper. So, and then you also get 2 unit cards, which is interesting. You can either do with them the skirmish ones that we saw with the spears, and then the other one that we don't know with slings.
It's like the Wookiees.
Yeah, just like the
Melee
Wookiee.
Wookiees, shitty Wookiees.
I think the range is gonna be 1 to 2. For the slings.
Probably. Isn't that what Wicket has?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll probably be similar to Wicket's profile. Probably shoot a black
Mhm.
primitive. Probably not Pierce though.
Yeah, I think you're right. I honestly think the primitive keyword is gonna be it. Anything that turns into a crit is just automatically a hit.
That would make sense to me. Because they're
Yeah.
supposed to be bad against armor, right?
And then the trapper, I'm assuming, is that one that they said that you can get rid of heavies in units, which would be cool if you could shoot it and get rid of a heavy.
There's the answer for Blizzard Force HRUs. I'm gonna steal your heavy.
Yeah, you gotta get there first, between range 4.
Yeah, if you have to get to range 2 of an HRU, you've already won, It's like, oh.
And the way the trapper model looks is like he's gonna set up a trap. So I'm assuming it's gonna be like the saboteurs.
Yeah, I want it to be like the saboteurs because I like the saboteurs mechanic. I just wish they were better.
Me too. Like I said, make the saboteurs throw range 1 to 2. That would fix them. But yeah, so anything more on those guys?
You mean 2? Because isn't the bomb thrown at range 1 anyways?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
the
what he's
bomb-
saying. Range 2.
Range 2.
Oh, okay, range 2. He said
Yes.
1 to 2. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to throw in range 1 on top of 2. You know what I mean? But yeah. So yeah, they look kind of disappointed though because they're 6, not more, because they said this was going to be the most. But whatever, we'll move on.
What if they have an upgrade? We don't know yet. They didn't show really anything.
I mean, they just literally said a trapper for the heavy, the personnel slot.
Yeah, it's literally 8 minis in the box, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it can't be a 9 mini unit if you only can get 8.
Oh,
so you have to get a second box.
Or AMG's gonna have like a little box of Ewoks, like you could buy these guys.
Well, hold on. What if the Battle Force Org, because we're thinking the Battle Force Org is a normal Force Org, like 6 Ewoks. I had seen somebody make a list earlier. They were just playing around. They're like, this is a perfect Battle Force. And it's Wicket, Low Grade, and 16 Ewoks.
Oh,
there might be something like that.
So, I mean, B1's got 8, right? 8 core.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be shocked if they could take like 8.
Yeah, they could take 8. Then or at least 9, one more than B1's. Then you have the biggest horde army.
I want them to take 10 core. That's what I want.
I think 8 would be fine because the thing with Invasion Force is you don't usually take all 8 unless you're just doing nakeds, right? So you do 8 naked because you have to take the tank. So if they just say you don't have to take the tank for Endor, then you could just do tons and tons of Ewoks and then do like Ewok Special Forces or maybe something else like that.
But you know what I'm afraid of? Is that
a lot to chew through.
An Invasion Force, the exact same setup, but just call it something else. and the Tree Village one, and I'm just gonna be so bummed.
Yeah, they might
Yeah.
because they have the Endor ATST.
Which has a gun.
Oh
Yeah.
Confirmed
yeah,
it has a gun.
let's get to that. So moving on to the ATST. So it's a new box of an ATST. You can buy it, and you get in this box 2 pilot options. Now, I believe in the original ATST, correct me if I'm wrong, Jose, is you can't put a pilot into the ATST, right?
No,
Yeah,
pilot,
you got
ATST
you
has a
got
pilot.
Weiss.
Yeah.
ATST, yes.
Yeah.
So the ATST came at Weiss, and then when you bought the Gav, you got the Imperial Hammer
Well,
pilot.
no, I'm
and
talking
you
about the
got-
model.
Oh, the model.
Oh.
No, you didn't get a
Yeah.
model.
Yeah, because so in this one, if you wanted to get this new AT, because it's the same thing as the ATST, but if you get this version, you get the Chewie pilot miniature, and
And
you get
Weiss.
the Weiss miniature. But yeah, I was totally wrong on this, and you guys were right. This guy's got just the regular ATST 1 to 4. I'll go over the profile right now. So it's 190. It can only be in the Tree Village Battle Force. It's 11 health, white saves. Pretty much everything's the same as the ATST, but you surge to crit.
Which is insane.
Yeah. You have Inspire 3, which I think will be good. You have Incognito, and then the upgrades, there's no upgrade slots. So essentially the guns have been implemented into the card, which is now melee to 2 is the long blaster one. And then the grenade launcher is melee to 2, which is 2 black and blast and everything. Yeah, I kind of like this. What do you guys think?
Because it has the surge to crit, I see why they didn't let you take the extra gun.
Yeah.
Because that surge to crit is huge. You take the hammer pilot because you just want surge to hit, and you get that extra gun, so you up your chances. But surge to crit is huge on this thing. But it's kind of conflicting now because like you want to keep incognito as much as you can, but that surge to crit on that dice pool is kind of tempting to just be like, no, I'm just gonna start shooting at range 4.
Well, to be honest, I think you only do the incognito for 1 turn. Like it keeps you
Probably.
safe for 1, yeah, and then you just want to start blasting. But who knows? Maybe you want to, because I mean, this is a giant line of sight blocker, so you can just put all your Ewoks behind it while it's.
But it's also your Inspire 3. You kind of want to protect that.
That's true too. Yeah.
Because you got a full army of Courage 1, so Inspire 3 is gonna come clutch.
Yeah.
It's give and take. I think it's one of those things where people are gonna play it 2 different ways. You're gonna have the people that line of sight block to get the murder bears up there, and then you're gonna have the guys like me here just gonna be like, I'm just gonna shoot everything.
I'm just gonna go ham.
I'm just gonna shoot, search the crit everywhere.
I'm a little bummed it only works for the Ewok Village. I would have liked to use it for Rebels in general. Because I'm probably not going to get enough Ewoks to run just the Battle Force. I'm just not as interested in it. And so it's kind of a bummer.
I'm gonna run
even if they get gliders. I think gliders.
Nah. I think just like I said, I think they're gonna essentially have the same thing as the Invasion Force, and that's gonna be the Battle Force.
Well, I just mean in general, it's like later releases, but I have a feeling if they bring gliders, it's just gonna be freaking Fluttercrafts all over again.
Watch it be better than Fluttercrafts and just stick it to the Wookiees.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Moving on to the Lugray and Wicket box, which is kind of neat. Is this box also contains C-3PO, and if you already have the 2 ATSTs and you don't want to buy a new one, this also comes with the Chewbacca
Chewie
ATST.
card.
Yeah, so you don't have to buy that one just to get the Chewie one. What's awesome is that they show a teamwork card. It's a 2-pip for Leia, and it looks like it's permanent. Wicket gains teamwork, Leia Organa.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I can't really read the rest, so I don't really know what it says. But what I thought is interesting is it says 8 command cards. So what is the speculation of the other 4? What do you guys think?
You got 3 for Logray.
Yeah, I think that's going to be.
So you think Wicket's not going to get any command cards?
I think it's going to be probably 2 apiece or something like that.
Because it also says.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chewie has another one for the Endor Battle Force. So you would have 3 for Logray. You have 1 Leia, 1 Chewie, and 2 Wicket.
Okay, say that again. Say that again.
We're looking at 8. You said 8, right?
8, yeah. So you already got 4. You got the generic Wookiees. And then you got the Leo one, so that's 4.
Okay, and then 3 for low gray.
Okay.
And then did Wicket have one revealed or no?
Nope.
So
I think it'll be 2 low gray and 2 wicket. I think
one
they'll each
Leia.
get 2.
I actually disagree with you guys. I think it's gonna be 1 Wicket, 1 C3PO, maybe 2 Lugray.
Doesn't C3PO
Because you
so
see,
had they revealed the actual Battle Force box? Like the
they haven't
or is
revealed
this
It doesn't look
because
like there's not
I'm
much
kind of
left. I don't
curious.
know if they'll do a Battle Force box, right?
No, they're not going to.
Yeah.
I think they're just gonna do the same thing they did with Moff Gideon's and Imminent Revenants. Is yeah, they're just gonna have a sheet out in this. You can do this because they make more money if you don't do a Battle Force box.
Yeah, but a Battle Force box lets you buy into a starting army right away. That's why I think it's a missed opportunity. Because Shadow Collective, I mean, that was its own little starter set by itself.
I
So
have a
that's what
bunch
I'm
of extra
saying.
copies of Maul and
Mhm.
Commandos that I'm not going to use because I needed the Pikes and the Black Sun. So,
My
you know,
I
it
theory,
blew
sells
the
more
smalls
product
up.
for them.
I blew
my
the malls up.
my theory is that oh man, I lost my train of thought. What was it? Is that that you're gonna have to take rebels in the battle force, and so they probably didn't want to put another rebel troopers in a battle force. Probably cost too much for them to do.
Hmm.
So that's why it's all separate. But yeah, looking forward to these guys coming out. Seems pretty exciting.
I'm gonna have to rework my pre-orders.
5 upgrade cards. That's interesting. Do you think they're gonna be existing upgrade cards?
No.
They haven't done existing upgrade cards. I assume they're going to be new.
Hopefully.
So
Hopefully
you
they
have
are.
one personnel for the trapper, you have one personnel for the
No, this
merc.
is in Lugrays and Wicked spot.
Oh, and their box.
Yeah.
I wonder if they can be taken in those squads, like a ISF type thing.
I assume so. Well,
So then
no,
maybe they'll have the little cards so that they can be added in.
This
potentially.
Logray has his magic spells like I've been predicting.
I'm
His
assuming.
upgrade cards.
They're
Yeah,
gonna be like
because
Like
we have
super
indoor
seen
force
Lugrays.
cards.
indoor
Yeah.
powers.
Yeah, I'm assuming we see a new training slot card coming out of this.
Oh, he wants more shit from all.
What? That's training slot, bro. I'm not force
An
power.
incognito training slot. That's what you need.
Yes.
Incognito.
It's locked to
Yes.
rebels. It's rebel locked.
That's what Maul needs.
So
Just
Maul can't take
incognito. Infiltrate incognito Maul. So all right, yeah, we'll move on to that. That seems pretty awesome. Pretty excited for those guys. Want to give an announcement. Grayson, local from Bakersfield, hit us up in the local Discord, and he announced that he's having a tournament on May 21st at Autos. I know we are going, and I know some other guys are going. So anybody that's watching this before May 21st, if you'd like to go, hit one of us up because we're planning the carpool over there. So it'll be a nice local tournament. Get to meet more people that are into the community and just have some fun. So I want to give that shout out because that's coming up May 21st. Moving on from that, I wanted to talk to you guys about what is the perfect table. Since the new rules have come out, I've had a lot of discussion with a lot of you and a lot of people about what is the solution for these new cover rules and what we should implement as the tables. Because as the tables that we have been making, and particularly when I make the tables, it's too much. And so I want to get pick your guys' mind on what do you think the perfect table is for the new cover rules.
I'm gonna be negative here. I think there's no amount of perfectness with these rules. These rules are just bad. Like, like I said, we've had this talk before, but it's just I mean, dude, everything has cover now. Like everything. Like if you do light on the terrain, like you have those lanes that are just gonna get blown up by vehicles or faster units are gonna get around it. But if you actually pepper in like other little bits of terrain, not everything has cover one. So I don't think the rules are gonna allow for a perfect table. I honestly think you're going to be on either side of the spectrum. You're going to be on a super dense table where everything has mega cover, or you're going to be on a shoot 'em up table where, you know, the worst you got to go through is cover one and some keywords. That's my take on it.
I think that something you said there. You talked about how you'll either have firing lanes or everyone will have cover. I think that's kind of true, but I think firing lanes are not a huge problem. I think having like a death alley on a table is not the end of the world because that makes you have to make tactical decisions around that. You're like, well, we can't run up the middle, so we're gonna have to run around the right, or we have to go around the left, or I've got fast units. They're gonna have to try to get there first and make it my death valley instead of your death valley. I think that's okay to have something like that, an area that's hard to hold. The problem is if it like makes the map imbalanced and makes like red players super strong.
I actually agree with Daniel on this, and I think you need
Of
to add.
course.
I think you need to add more line of sight blocking in the game. The reason for that is because since range 4 is so powerful right now in the meta, that range 2 is like non-existent. So I feel like more line of sight blocking, makes them more stronger, and leave lanes to have advantage for range 4, but also have line of sight blocking where people can run and hide behind. That does indirectly, make force users stronger, which I'm all for. But it also makes melee users like Wookiees and range 2 that much stronger as well. So I would like
More
to see,
units you use.
yeah.
Yeah, but melee
Good
units,
argument.
man, they struggle in this game.
They
I feel
do.
like building a map that's more friendly to melee units is not a problem. You're not going to see Wookiees overrunning the meta just because the tables are a little bit more tense.
Well, the other thing too with line of sight is you have to take in consideration height now because of the whole stupid silhouette thing. We had talked a while ago. One thing I saw at LVO was this guy put his kneeling mortar trooper completely hidden behind a building, and the guy that he was facing said, "Hey, can you put the emplacement trooper silhouette up?" He put the silhouette up, and the building's right here, the trooper's down here, but the silhouette's up here, and he blew up that mortar right off the table. Didn't even need to see the mortar. So when you're talking about adding more line of sight blockers, you have to actually think about adding like vertical height that's going to cover all these ranges of silhouettes on, because you also have to remember now, on top of that being an extreme, you also have every vehicle has a silhouette now.
Well,
I don't
So
think it's
now
the
you
end of the
got,
world if vehicles have nowhere to hide. They're so big, that's what you're expecting when you bring a vehicle.
yeah, but
Everyone's
when
hiding
you,
behind your vehicles. If your vehicles get taken out, that's just that's
yeah, but as the other example extreme is when your ATST has his toes covered and he gets heavy cover from a barricade or
that's
from a
that's
little
not
bunch
true
of
though.
rocks, a little bunch of rocks.
He doesn't get heavy cover from that because 50% of his profile has to be hidden.
Somebody had did it was a hot talking point. I forgot what it was,
It's the
but it's
ATST
like,
shooting at people. People
is
shooting at
it
the
that?
ATST. ATST doesn't get cover because it has to
Okay,
hide 50%. But yeah, people can hide behind the thing at the
yeah,
ATST's
yeah.
toes.
It's
Yeah.
so stupid.
that's what I'm
I'm
saying. Like,
still
I
months
that's
removed from LVO. I'm still not feeling these rules. These
The
that
rules are
that
rules are not
terrible.
great. They're just
yeah,
not.
because
But
that
yeah.
well, I was gonna say the incident that Grayson brought up today in the Discord is moving
Dumb.
through terrain. Like, I think that's kind of dumb. I get it. You can make a head cannon, you open it up with your lightsaber or something, but like just phasing through something, it feels feel bad. And
Well,
I hate this
when
new this discussion on the table, because someone's trying to metagame and you gotta fight them on the metagame, and you can end up losing on the metagame. And I'm just like, I'm not for metagaming at
well,
all. I
see,
hate it.
in Grayson's example, what I caught. That's why I had asked him. I said if because he was explaining how he's relatively new to the game. So I was like, okay, cool. If you're head judging and you're relatively new, you have resources to reach out to. But I want to know what type of players he's playing with, because the scenario he presented with a lot of seasoned Legion players, we're not going to say, oh, I'm going to cut a hole and I can phase through. For us, we have that conversation. It's like this platform is line. You're going to tell me we don't have these conversations where a
No,
platform,
we
I
because
don't
he would.
know. We
But
played on a map that had a platform and we didn't have that conversation. It didn't
yeah,
come
no,
up,
but
but we didn't
you
talk
guys,
about it.
it
but
was
you
the
guys,
exact
yeah,
same
but
piece too.
Yeah, it
yes,
was.
but however he got up there, science will never know. The fact that he's up there and the question persists of there's a shoe size platform you're on. You clearly can, the mini where it's at, clearly cannot look down to the center box. To say that you're gonna phase through and land on that box as a legitimate question, nobody will no seasoned player would even think about. That's what blew my mind because I had to read that question a few times. Like,
I have to
what do you
disagree with
mean
you.
jumping up?
Yeah, I've actually
Really?
heard it come up before.
Yeah,
With
it happened
who?
in one of my games in LVO. And it was one of those things where it's just like I just didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was a discussion I had to have at the table.
Oh, you're talking about are you talking about your game with Kyle where Vader jumped that little impassable piece of terrain?
Right, right. It wasn't
Yeah, no,
impossible.
but that's
It was
different.
classified. Yeah.
I'm talking about you're on a platform directly in center of the platform in the picture is that box. Your
Oh,
unit is almost center.
I agree.
You
I
should
agree with
not.
you.
That's what I'm
I
saying. That's a conversation where if you're playing Kyle or you're playing, who'd you play over? You played Ryan. You Ryan's not going to be like, I'm going to take my tauntaun and dive straight down because
but
the
Well,
rules.
Tauntauns don't
Like
have
it's
jump.
I know, but I'm saying it's common
yeah.
sense. Like to me, it's a new player. When he explained that they've only been playing since February, I can see how that's a new player like
But see, here's
thought
the thing is
process.
But he's
I
technically not wrong.
yeah, I agree. I agree with
He's
everything you're saying.
right. You
Yeah,
can do that.
I agree with everything
Oh
you're
my
saying, Jose.
god.
But when people get into that competitive headspace, and even though it shouldn't be a thing, it is a thing, they're gonna take advantage of that thing. So I
The
feel
truth
like
is that like
Like your
Legion
grass, heavy cover grass.
has never handled layers of terrain well, right? People being on two different layers of terrain, you can bomb through solid objects, right? That's part of the rules.
Mhm.
And that's stupid, but that is part of the rules because Legion's never handled that thing well. And so this is one of the symptoms is jump and overrun. Those two act super wonky when you're jumping up and down from platforms.
I don't think overruns really like. I think what complicates things overrun for
It
people
doesn't
is the fact
complicate
that
things, it's just a weird rule.
it's just it ignores your basic principles like of how you normally play. Like normally you can't shoot into a melee. Now you run an overrun over. Now you attack. Well, I don't understand. How am I getting shot in a melee? No, you're not being shot. It's an attack that's not a shooting. Like
I think
it's
all that's fine. My point is just that you can bomb people through a roof, and that's abnormal. You can bomb people with an axe through a roof with speeder bikes. That's not normal.
oh
But
my
that's because
god.
Legion handles elevations weird.
yeah, I like I said, I agree with some of the things AMG has done with this new line of sight and the way the terrain is. I think they need to rework a little bit of it because it's still a little bit confusing. And just like the perfect table we're talking about, is line of sight blockers have to be more evident in this game than there ever was. And I think you go back on scatter terrain and you go back on like barricades just because you need to give some advantages to gun lines, but you also need to give some advantages to people that shoot shorter range, in my opinion.
I kind of feel like the with Grayson's thing, that's a symptom of the new rule set because remember when the new rule set came out, like I remember I don't know if it was on the what podcast it was, but LJ was on the podcast and he specifically said the way the rules are is to make it to where a new player can pick it up relatively simple to play the game. I feel like when it comes to like I said, a seasoned player is not gonna think that we're gonna have a conversation, but to a new player, the way that interaction put out, like how he put it out in the chat, like for a new player, that makes complete sense. The rules say this, I can phase through the ground, get here, it's simple. Whereas I'm over here thinking I'm gonna have to move to the right, jump down, waste a turn, and come back around. Like,
But what you're misunderstanding, what I think is that now that I know about this, I'm phasing through
nope,
everything, Jose. You better watch out. I'm
no,
phasing
you're
through it.
tripping, bro.
If we don't talk about it, I'm phasing through it.
No, I made it very clear because we're going to Grace's tournament. I put in the Discord. I said this is stupid, or I don't remember how exactly. I said nicely that it was stupid, and that I am literally. This is why you have these conversations, and it's literally comes. It's going to be a judge call, or it's going to be a roll in the dice. I'm holding my ground. I
The
don't
judge
care. It's
call
like
is you can phase through the
if that's
ground.
the call,
That is the
if
judge
that
call
if
from the
that's the
highest
call,
judge.
if that's the call, then I'm stuck with it. But I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I could see that. No, that's stupid. Like, dude, come on now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
definitely
like
not
it.
intuitive.
Yeah, it's
But the
uh
table wise, it's I because even with like payload, the blowback people had about payload, like your payload can get trapped, blah blah blah.
I actually like that.
Um,
I think it's
I
a good
love it.
change.
I love it. I played payload a lot at LVO. I play payload whenever I can because now instead of just zipping from point A to point B, every move of that payload really matters now. It matters more than ever, from cover to what you can go around, what you have to go over, jamming. So it's perfect. But like when you're making a table, you have to think of so much now. You have to think of very height terrain. You have to think of, is a player gonna phase through a freaking helipad? You have to, which I'm pretty sure no judge thought of that. You have to consider, you know, I don't know, every silhouette. Like, and that's the crazy. I had blowback about that even post LVO when they were debating. They had a little talk about the tables afterwards because I did the survey and everything, but we started talking about it in Discord. I was like, I think that when a TO is making a table, they literally need to have every silhouette right there, and they need to, when they set up their table, put every silhouette amongst the table so he can truly see what the interaction is going to be. Versus, I'm going to throw this tree here, and Jared's like, nope, face through it. Come on now.
Well, I do agree that like there needs to be more height to terrain. But like at the same time,
That
height to
hurts the
terrain is
climb
like,
rule now.
yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like in my game with Rob, we had trees. My indoor trees are height 2. And so like there's no ladder
They're
rules.
cut at the top.
Yeah, they're cut at the top, but it's height
So
2.
why don't you make them infinite so no climbing on them?
Well, no, they have platforms up there. Like
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
So the dilemma that we had is that there's no ladder rules, and I'm trying to come up with ladder rules to make it efficient, but like you can't climb on height 2 anymore unless you have a jump keyword or scale.
Why don't you make the ladder just you touch the base of the ladder and it costs you an action just to go up?
The
Well,
old clamber rules.
I have been toying
Yeah.
with that idea, but what I found is some people like it, and some people don't. I know you can't please everybody, but it's just trying to find that happy middle ground of like, all right, this is just perfect.
I mean,
But
Roman has an elevator. Put your mini and hit the button, you go up.
oh yeah, so that's our take on the perfect table. I think I want to hear everybody that's listening to Discord. Well, I'm gonna take a poll in our Discord channel, and we'll see what everyone thinks is the perfect table, or what is the closest they think that you should be building. But I'm just curious to see what everyone's opinions on it. But we'll move on. So we want to talk about Jose thought we should talk about an article that FitTrooper sent out, and I think it's a
Yep.
great idea. So
Amazing article.
yeah, Lucas Technophobia wrote an article about what he thinks should be nerfed and buffed for the next errata that's coming out in May. And so we'll go over it. We'll see what you guys think. So let's go ahead and scroll down. So the first one that comes up is Dark Troopers. He thinks we should increase the points and get rid of the Guardian interaction. What do you guys think?
You go first, Daniel.
I completely agree. Yeah. I think the Guardian interaction was an oversight because they're what's it called? The keyword that gets rid of all the defensive stuff just doesn't mention Guardian. I feel like they just didn't really think about it, and that's why we have weird Imperial Guard jumping in front of Dark Troopers. so I'm totally a fan
DT
of getting rid of
blankets.
Guardian. Points increase. I haven't played enough against Dark Troopers to really know where their point should be at, but I mean, the numbers here do seem to indicate that they need some kind of debuff, and not just like the Guardian wouldn't be enough to debuff them on its own, because a lot of these lists are double dark, which I'm assuming they're not doing double dark and Guardian. So probably have to do some kind of points increase. Yeah. So yeah, I agree.
I played one game against single Dark Troopers. The Guardian thing, I think not only Guardian, but also the ability to force barrier them needs to go away. Basically, any defensive tech that would help them out should be nullified because of their keyword. I mean, if covers eliminated for the purpose of them being super strong, then being allowed to have outlets that are probably oversights um, doesn't solve that problem that you were trying to fix, because you're gonna be able to Guardian 2 heavy cover, you lose the IRGO while you save your darks, or you're gonna bury a crit. And every crit matters on these guys.
Yeah.
Every crit matters. Like I said, I took three RTs, Cody, and every single piece of crit I could get mattered, and I still felt like I could have easily got blown off the field. The points increase, I'm not going to go there yet. I'm I'm scarred as a guard player for point increases. Like it's my boogeyman. So I'm not going to go and say that they need a points increase. A change I would implement, because what they have the two heavies, and then they have a regular standard dark trooper, right? Like an extra
Yeah.
menu.
Person
Then
out
I
top.
would say that I'd say don't hit them in points. What you do is you let them only take one heavy, and the other slot has to be filled with the extra trooper. You're losing the firepower, but you're keeping the staying power, in my opinion, without shifting their points around too much.
That could be reasonable. I'd also be a fan if they said something like just limit one, just say, hey, you can only take one. They're strong and you can only have one. So that would get rid of double darks, and then guardian darks wouldn't
Well,
really
then you bring
work.
Gideon, who then gets around that, because then you bring double darks with
Well,
Gideon.
I would hate for them to limit you one, only because like how many people bought multiple boxes and
Yeah.
That's
then,
true. That would be
that
rough.
suck.
And they're
Yeah.
cool. You want to see a lot of them. Like I
Yeah,
want to
they
see
are.
One
three,
unit is
but
already a lot of them.
but I want to see a lot of them.
So
I watch Mando. I want to see. So give me a battle force with 6 dark troopers.
so
Just no commanders, no nothing. Just 6 dark troopers.
I actually agree with you guys on the Guardian change. I don't think that should be a thing. I think Lucas hit that nail on the spot. Like, let's get rid of that. But I don't think you increase their points, because these guys already cost so much that a lot of the list, like, it's just the darks and supporting the darks. I think you get rid of armor and you give them armor 3. I think that's
Yeah,
what you do. That to
that
fix them.
that could be good too. Then some fire supports could really
Mhm.
that'd be pretty devastating.
Yeah, because like they just cost too much already. And increasing anything, you're just never gonna see them be played. And
But they're worth
I would
their
hate to
That's
points at their
possible.
sideline
cost.
another character, or I would hate to sideline another unit just because they're bad. You know what I mean? Okay, moving on to Blizzard Force. Uh, Lucas thinks we should increase HRU's points and remove OP Vader. All right, Jose, what do you think?
So based on his sample size, he did. Don't laugh at me. He did win rate without Operative Vader and win rate with Operative Vader. The win rate without Operative Vader was 0.49. The win rate with Operative Vader is 0.69. So without Operative Vader, you drop 0.20. That's huge. That's huge. So where my thing is that I said this from day one, like a force user like Vader is good regardless of what format. If you take Com Vader, you're rocking with things that are Courage 1. You're not getting suppressed. You're just storming the castle. You're shoving Vader down
Not
the throat.
panicking.
But not panicking. Yeah. When you're rocking with Op Vader, you're freeing up some points to help everything out around you, and then you're a speed machine because you're at speed 2 now. Yeah, your courage is at a 3, but 3 is very viable. My whole thing from the get go was when I saw that you could take Com Vader or Op Vader, and I saw where the HRUs were amongst the whole list options that you had, I felt like them not limiting it to just Com Vader from the beginning was the issue, because using Op Vader, you're going to free up so much play for either items in your army or bid. As of right now, Op Vader, Blizzard Forceless, and as you saw with your game with Kyle, you lost the bid. He got the better army, and he has the deck with Vader. Now, your honest opinion in that game you played with Kyle, do you think? Because I watched your game with Kyle, you got so caught up with Com Vader that you were just on your back foot the rest of the game. Do you think you stand a better chance with him having not Op Vader, with him having Com Vader and you getting either the bid for your deck, or having him lose points and upgrades across his army? Would you have felt better in that scenario than the scenario you actually faced him in, where he had the bid and he had all the upgrades and he had Vader?
I mean, for sure, I would feel better with Commander Vader, but at the same time, like maybe you're right. Maybe they shouldn't get the bid. But I wasn't fighting for the bid when I played my game, and it was just luck. Not it was just unfortunate that the last 2 slots were breakthrough and bomb and run. And so I feel like even if they got their battle deck, it still would do really, really well because of those two options that you really
But
don't
if
want
you
to
would
see.
have had the bid, did you have those 2 cards in your deck?
No,
Then
but
his advantage goes.
right, and that's the whole fighting for the bid. Now, I agree they shouldn't have such a big bid, right? But I think the HRUs do need a nerf because one, I don't even think HRUs shouldn't even be a unit. My thing when the Battle Force that came out is like if I think every Battle Force should have a unique unit for their Battle Force, or none of them at all. Like I think it's a little unfair that Empire got one and nobody else got one. Like it didn't fit thematically, and it's just kind of like maybe they're trying to give a oomph to the Empire because they were in a bad spot at the time. But yeah, I just HRUs in general, I just hate as a unit because it just seems unbalanced to me in general.
HRUs were kind of a weird choice.
Yeah.
But you don't think that'd be overkill? So say they take he's saying take out Op Vader and then put in Com Vader, which their win rate drops by 0.20. You don't think that gets annihilated even more if you take out HRUs?
I don't think so because the truth is when you look at statistics like this, without Operative Vader, 49% win rate. That's a perfectly acceptable win rate, right? So all else aside, that's a perfectly fine win rate. But 69% with Operative Vader, that's crazy, right? We don't want anything that has a 69% win rate. But if we take Operative Vader out of the game, will we see them drop to the 49%? I don't think so. I think
we
the
will.
truth is that Operative Vader is like maybe 5% better, but all the best players know that, and so they all take him. And so then they all win all of their matches, and so Op Vader wins a ton. So I think what you're seeing here is like a difference between like players who are better at list building and their performance at tournaments. Right. So I do think Operative Vader's better, and I think he is boosting the stats a little bit. But I think if the only change we make was pull out Operative Vader, I think we would see it probably drop close to maybe 60 or 65% win rate. I don't think we'd see it drop to 50 or 49. But that's just my opinion based on how you analyze these kind of stats.
I think we need to see I mean even a test run we would need to see these lists run with Com Vader because Com Vader soaks up your advantages. Op Vader lets you get all your CIS stuff. Op Vader lets you take your milk and cookies all in the same
flashbacks?
go. Yeah, flashbacks. It's stupid. So my thing is like Op Vader swap to Com Vader it gets rid of 2 evils in one go because they can't have everything.
What's funny?
You're either gonna have your bid or you're gonna have your upgrades. You're not getting it all, which is what the problem is right now. Is they're getting their bid, their deck, they're getting everything.
It's funny that you say that because so I played 3 Blizzard Force in LVO. My first one was running Commander or Commander Vader. So the other 2 Blizzard Force face, they're the exact same list, exact same thing that they wanted to do. But the first one had Commander Vader, and I couldn't really gauge the difference as far as like the uniqueness of Vader because we played with his battle deck still, and I got Hostage Exchange, whereas the other 2 I got Breakthrough. And the second to last before Kyle, I barely won that game. Like I just got it out the skin of my teeth because of lucky dice rolls. So like I feel like you still need to nerf the HR units because that list was still so effective. But because I was doing mall things with the hostage and I was able to dive because of the AA5, I feel like I was still fighting an uphill battle and getting lucky on some things. Yeah, the HRUs are just too cheap for what they do. And in my opinion, in this meta, I think range 4 needs to be nerfed. I think it's just too good right now where it is. I think you're going to see potentially more. And if we don't add more line of sight blocking into terrains or into maps, I think you're just going to see it keep dominating the game.
But then you have the interesting question is you have outliers like Lila blowing away multiple Blizzard Force with range 2 and 8x.
But that's the pilot.
So where's
though.
No, but even if the pilot can be great, if her red saves are ass, she's going down. As you saw with Luke Cook, where he just blew away Maul. She whiffed like 3-4 saves, dead Maul.
And that's so important to know.
She had to rely on the red dice to get her through that. So if a range 2 army with 8 can rely on red dice, I mean, I feel like red dice should be able to actually help you out in a way. But the thing is my thing is she's limited to range 2, but yet she dropped multiple Blizzard Forces of that variant that I mean, she beat Kyle. The same list you played. She
Yeah.
steamrolled. No, not steamrolled. No, yeah, she killed like 6 units in one turn. She steamrolled that.
But
But
it's simple. To my opinion, it's simple to just look at like what's the army doing. Blizzard Force is shooting mostly at range 4, whereas Black Sun is shooting at range 2. That should be an easy win for Blizzard Force, right? But Blizzard Force also, relies heavily on their objectives, and I think the pilot Lila was really good with her Black Force list. I think she practiced it really well, and she did really good with it because, the pilot is ultimately the decider of their games, and you're going to see a lot of people. David Grant, for instance, I think his act was only 6, and he was mowing down.
but that was his
and
mechanic.
barely-
That was
that's
his brainchild mechanic. Like,
that's the point.
he had a one trick play that I still feel bad because we were at the dinner and everybody was like breaking him down. And once they figured out what he was doing, like I knew that I was like, man, day 2 is gonna be terrible.
Even when they figured it out, like he went against Kyle and he almost lost to Kyle. Kyle even said that was his closest game at LVO. Like it's the pilot's always going to be the one to steer the list and make, and then also that includes the dice rolls, right? But yeah, I just think those HRU just like I said, range 4 in general need to be nerfed in general.
You mean like nerf doesn't set the range back to 3 or weaker dice pools, or
Made slightly more expensive,
Yeah.
so you can't have such overwhelming force at range 4.
Look at when I won the LVO the year before last year. All my stuff was range 4. I just had a gun line with the force user, and that's what I feel like the meta is. It's just like everybody's taking gun lines. Well, what's better than a gun line? A force user with a gun line, So, I'll do another poll for you, Jose. Should HIUs be nerfed or not?
jeez.
But
I said, I'm just scared. Like I said, I'm scarred as a Gar player. I'm scared of massacring units, and I like Roman says, I'm the Bernie Sanders of Legion. I want everything to be playable.
Well, the good news is
So-
that there's not a single person who purchased an HRU. So if we nerf them into the ground, no one's going to be sad.
So that's just my thing. I want to see Mike. If you take, like I said, if you take com or op Vader out and swap for com, and we still see the progression and the win rate that we see, then I can be won over to the fact that, hey, okay, that was tried, we're good. I just don't want a massacre of like Rexstar had, where everything got mutilated and Gar got pushed out the window.
Honestly, when it comes to like erratas and stuff, I would rather see the current meta get completely destroyed, so it's all new stuff, rather than seeing it get hurt a little bit and still being on top. Because what I want after an errata is I want to play a different set of units. If the same units are still good, I'm going to kind of be like, did anything really change? Like, oh, maybe they're closer. But like, I want to see new lists. I don't want the same list to still mostly be good. So I would rather say smash the HRUs, get rid of Op Vader out of the list. And even if that means never seeing another Blizzard Force, if that means that all new stuff comes up, that would be my preference.
Well, yeah, I agree with Daniel on that one. All right, we'll move on.
So force push 20 points, Maul plus 20.
I would not be too upset with that.
Leave my
that would change our local meta.
All right. Black Suns. This is the one that's most controversial for me.
I disagree with all of it.
So
yeah, I do too.
Increase the unit of the Black Suns and the Vigo upgrade costs. It seems like we're all in agreement with this one. It just seems. Go ahead, guys. I'll let you guys take it.
You might be able to. You might be able to do the core unit. I don't think I would do the upgrade. And maybe 2 points. 56% is not an overwhelming win rate. It's close enough to the middle where I'm okay with it. Also, the truth is that with Black Sun, they're swinging. They win some games big, and some games they all just get shot off, and it's sad. So, if you're taking a gamble on that kind of list, I think it's not the end of the world if they succeed more than they fail. But that might just be my bias towards range 2. I love range 2. I think it's so fun.
And
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in all the games that I play with the Black Suns, like they do a lot of damage. But once they do that first initial damage, they get focus fire so hard, and then they just get deleted. It's just like, I feel like that's that balance. Like they got to get there first, then they do their one swing for the whole game, and then they're dead.
The list that they do well in is the list that they're built around, which is, if you're going to build around a unit, it's going to do pretty well.
I think that that reaction was one of the effects of Lila just doing so great. Because let's be real, Shadow Collective had a doesn't have a big showing. They don't have a big showing at all in any event. They don't have a big showing.
Yeah, not
But
anymore.
what's cool? Oh yeah, prior to Pikes. But what's cool about Shadow Collective now is the people, and this is big props to you as well as Lila Jar. The people that bring Shadow Collective know how to play Shadow Collective, and that's where it skews at because you have Shadow Collective with these units that have high win rates, but they have low player rates, so they're gonna have lower games, making their skew a little bigger. I disagree with all of that. Because like I said, I just don't. I think that we need more data than what we have compiled. If we see like a explosion of a Black Sun, then I can say, okay, cool, this makes a little bit more sense. But for right now, for the small amount of players and winning as many games as they are, like if everybody could win that way, we would see Black Sun everywhere. But not everybody can win that way. Not everybody can win with Shadow Collective. Therefore, I think they're fine. I mean, even our first game together, Jar, when Shadow Collective was released, we were playing skirmish, and I managed. You had a Vigo. You had two. We were playing skirmish, so you had your three Black Sun. I was able to keep them suppressed, keep them panicked, even with the Vigo there.
Yeah,
So
there's definitely
I don't think
responses
it's
and
yeah.
mitigation.
I don't. I think they're fine. I think leave them as it is. We're not seeing an overload of that unit, and I
Yeah,
think that until we do, there's no need to do anything to them.
I agree with you guys. I think Black Suns are fine. But moving on, we got Boba Fett, the infamous bounty hunter, increase his points and remove Rebel Boba cards. I agree with both of those.
No.
Maybe more so remove the cards and increase his points. But I feel like why would he take his rule with respect cards and everything when that wasn't the era Boba that he was into that respect thing?
yeah, I think it's weird thematically. I don't think balance-wise it matters that much. Boba Fett's like a really cool centerpiece, but he's not as impactful, and you can only take one. So I think he overperforms for sure. But I think it's cool that Boba overperforms. Like,
You would, you
cool
bounty
factor,
hunter.
I just don't care that much. I don't even run Boba that much, but
That's true.
it's just like when I'm playing against a Boba and the Boba is doing really well, he's still not like single-handedly winning the game, right? It's not like Op Vader doing really well. And so I'm kind of like, oh, he's rolling well on his red saves because that's what it has to be. If he blanks out, he dies. So he's rolling well on his red saves. No, it's not the end of the world to me.
Don't
But
give me Mando flashbacks right now, okay? I don't need that. What do you think, Jose?
I think that's another thing that's just up for debate when it comes to the person because in our bounty hunter list, I ran Boba Fett. I got Boba Fett killed every game. So it's once again, it's the player, the pilot. This pilot was kind of dumb. No, I was very dumb. I had a bounty and on the event, and we knew how valuable bounties were, and I still chose to rush Roman with the bounty hunter that had the bounty. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's a pilot issue. I think people who run Boba, like Luke Cook, they're amazing. Boba's a scalpel. And the three cards just give them a little bit more flexibility, but I don't think it's world-ending flexibility. I think it's just the combination of everything is a lot. Sometimes it can catch some players off guard with the things he can do when he does show up.
Yeah, I agree. I just think more so the increased points probably you don't need to, but definitely in my
yeah, I'd be
opinion.
disappointed to see a points increase. I would not mind if they came back and said, hey, he can't use the rebel cards just for
Yeah.
thematic reasons. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So we're gonna get to the buffs, and we'll knock them out pretty quickly. So Lucas thinks Wookiee Warriors need a drop in points. I agree.
Yes.
Do you guys think? Agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, you took away scale. You took
Yeah.
away all their upgrades. They need to
Yep.
drop like 5 to 10 points.
This is the Kashyyyk resistance. Is that the shooter ones?
There's
No,
yeah, that's
that's
the
what-
shooty ones.
Is
Those
it
are
the
the shooty
shooty
ones?
ones?
Kashyyyk resistance, the Wookiee warriors, which are lower on the list, also
Got it.
Oh
are
yeah,
the
you're right.
melee ones.
All the
Yeah.
Wookiees need love.
Yeah, they do.
got
all the
screwed
Wookiees need to
over.
drop
Yeah.
like 5 to 10 points because all of their neutral upgrades went up. They were already not dominating the meta, and then you took away scale because scale is borderline useless.
It would
now.
be more than 10 points though, because you have to compensate for the things that were already taken that shot
That's
up
what I'm saying.
tremendously.
That's why
So
I'd
it'd be-
say 5 to 10 because it's
think
at least
more,
4 just to give them their points back from the neutral upgrades. And so, yeah, I'd say at least 5 probably. My preference would be, I don't know, 10 might be a lot. At least
No,
5.
I'm saying no, 15.
But I also
Yeah.
love melee skew lists. So
I'm saying 15.
I'm all about the melee stuff. Luke Skywalker, Hero of the Rebellion, drop points and add a command slot. I like that.
I would
This
like
is
that.
Farm Boy Luke, right?
Farm Boy
Yeah.
Luke, Farm Boy Luke.
anything that brings him into play, I'd be happy with. Because
Yeah.
I think he's a fun idea of a unit. He just,
I think he's
not
just
competitive at all.
an iconic like farm.
Yeah.
It's
I want to
it's-
use
was it-
Luke with a blaster. That seems fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I can see it. Luke Love, as long as it's not OP Luke Love, I'm good.
Oh, I
Yeah.
should mention that the buffs are going up. These are for rebels, and then I'll name them as we go. But the next one is the ATRT drop points.
No.
No,
I guess. I don't know. I don't really have any strong opinion on the ATRT. It does seem to perform poorly here. What does he say? 37% win rate and 250 games.
yeah,
That's pretty rough.
Yeah,
But that might just be Rebels doing bad in general. Like how much of that is the ATRT and how much is just Rebels don't have good core units and so everyone does bad.
And also the player type, because you can have somebody who plays ATRTs really great and players who toss them to the wind, not really
well, and
positioning well.
they suffer in this meta right now because everyone's bringing impact critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might say drop their heavy weapons because like the ATRT is already super cheap, isn't it?
But that affects Gar as well, which I'm not against.
Oh, that's true.
They
I didn't
share.
think about that.
They share. Yeah.
The only thing that separates the Gar ATRT from the Rebel ATRT is their base card. The
The surge to
upgrades,
crit and the weapon.
exact same.
Scout.
Because
Yeah.
they're surge to crit, I don't think they should go down at all. That's very valuable.
The Mando Resistance Clan ran drop points.
Yeah.
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 Really?
This is again one of those things. Honestly, like generally, if you come to me and say, "Hey, this is you can only take one unit, and I want to make it cheaper," I'll say, "Yeah," because I mean, it's not going to be able to be abused that much, and it's not like they're winning. 40%, 77 uses. It's pretty bad.
It's a Rebel thing, I feel though, like because
Rebel needs some
Rebels
love
are doing
there.
bad.
The
Rebel needs some
yeah, but how
But-
do you?
Yeah. Clan Ren works so situationally, right? If you're taking Sabine, you'll probably take them, and if you're not, you probably won't. So I feel like they should not be that expensive.
And Nick's gonna love this one. Jin Urso to drop some points. I think that's fair.
I
She's
still haven't
already
played my Jin, so I
cheap.
don't know.
Give it
No,
1 point drop. 1 point drop. That's all it needs.
1 point.
She's already dirt cheap. No,
Well, I mean, she doesn't really do a whole lot, right? Like
Give her red saves.
it's her command card play that
red
skews a lot.
saves on danger sets.
Danger
On
sets?
danger sets.
Oh no!
Danger sets 4. No
It's-
doubt.
Red
it's
surging
her-
saves. Yep.
It's her command cards that I think that are more impactful when you bring Jin. You don't bring Jin to do anything spectacular. You bring her because her command cards are very useful
And she
in
doesn't die
stealing
that
stuff,
easy.
teamwork. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't. She's fine. She's at that point you're just dropping it to what is she right now? Like 70 points, something like that.
No.
I thought she was more than that. I thought she
think
was
she's
like 90.
100.
Is she more 90?
I'll check
I
it right
haven't
now.
played her in forever.
Let's see.
She's 90. She's 90.
Yeah.
90.
She was at 130.
We
Holy
could-
cow.
So
Could
you
you
want-
imagine?
Yeah. geez.
I ran her
I'm gonna say
that
her or
way.
Boba. Hmm.
Yeah.
I ran her at 130. It did suck.
Oh my
Um,
god.
No, I think
She could
90
drop a
still
little
good.
bit. I don't know. I don't have strong opinions on this one.
It
I
the
use
way,
Jin. I
the
say
way Nick runs Jin, I think he really does a good job running her. And I feel like you got to be very subtle on the dropping the points because it's that teeter totter of just like you drop it too much, then she's just way too good.
Yeah.
But as fair as we don't see a lot of Jins out there, the only one I ever face is against Nick, or unless I'm facing your guys' Rebel list.
my Rogue One.
Yeah, the Rogue One. Next is Leia Organa, Fearless and Inventive. Drop points. What do you guys think?
I guess.
I'd be okay. I'd be okay with that because she's a support role like Krennic. Like she's not meant to get in the fray, and dropping her points means allows her to be a little more helpful in the back end.
She's
already
80 points right now.
What? Drop her to
Yeah.
70, 75?
Well, Krennic and Veers are what in the 70s?
Yeah, but she passes out 2 dodges. I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know. Her command cards are
Veers
also pretty solid.
Veers hands out 3 aims
That is true.
to short troopers.
Yeah, so she could probably drop a little bit.
And then the last one is Rebel Troopers drop the heavy points.
I'd like to see this. Yeah.
I feel like I mean I'm not a Rebel player, so I'm not sure if the heavy weapons is what costs too much. But yeah, give them some love. They really need the love, honestly.
Yeah, it feels like Rebel Core just lose to everybody,
Yeah.
which
This should be
feels
more
bad.
specific. This should be more specific because 99% of the rebel troopers I see are bringing the long
Specials.
gun that they have.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
critical. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
because
think
like
I think I think that one you keep the same points and you drop the
yeah.
other ones.
More drop
well, he
the
said
the
he
the
said
regular
heavy
ones.
weapons, so I'm just assuming all
Yeah,
heavy
yeah.
weapons.
Because like
I would good.
I was gonna say I would like to see Rebels run Z6. I know the
Yeah.
reason they cost
The
too
problem is they
much.
don't surge.
Yeah, and they don't surge. But
I would like to see him
What
get some kind of surge support, maybe a commander who can pass some surge tokens or something.
mm,
Because then I feel like you see
bolster?
Rebel Troopers come back. Because if you can't surge, you're just not going to get that many hits.
What about raising the cheap commander 5 points and then giving him bolster too? Would you be okay with that?
I'd almost rather just have them introduce someone else. Just bring some other support style commander that does surge tokens.
With the current meta we're in, I would much rather see the ion gun get changed from tap to cycle.
I would like to see all ion guns change to cycle. I think tapping guns is kind of it's just an older
Dumb.
mechanic. I'd like to see them all kind of switch to cycle.
I mean, it makes more sense in the CIS, but whatever. I agree.
Jesus.
All right, moving on to my opinion, the most balanced faction in the game because there's only two here. It's the Separatists with the Droidicas. He thinks we should drop points and add surge to crit, and I am all for that.
You said Search to hit originally, right? Or
I
is it
did.
no crit?
I think surge like if you're gonna give surge to hit, I think you drop them significantly more. But if you give them surge to crit, they don't need to drop that much.
I think if you give them surge to hit or crit, they almost don't need to drop. That would
But,
be my opinion.
but here's the thing though, is that they're the exact same points as everything else, as the spider and as the stabs. So it's
Mhm.
like you still bring stabs because you get free dodges, you can cover more ground, and you have critical 2 on the guns. Where
I
Shielded is a big deal with their recharge. I think what happens to them a lot is they get wiped out early. But if you ever end up with Droidicas at the end of a game and they're like a full squad, that's pretty devastating for your opponent because
true,
it's too late to take them out.
but the mechanic that I don't like is in order to gain some ground, you have to go into ball mode, and that's just a whole turn of not shooting.
Yeah. I mean, anytime I run Droidicas, I basically avoid ball mode at all costs.
really I
Mhm.
love using ball mode.
It-
Ball
it's
mode's so
it's
fun.
cool
You just get shot.
thematically. Yeah, it's cool. Like, oh, that's a cool thing. But I wish you could do it in a way that you could take at least if I think if you go into ball mode, you get plotting. You
I
move
would
once.
rather almost if they just had like Scout 3 or something, and that represented what they did with their ball.
Yeah,
But
true.
because yeah, doing ball mode as your action, it's rough.
It is rough.
Yeah, but speed 3 on a decent sized base, so I can see where there
No,
needs
you
to be
move
like a
fast. The
down.
problem is if you move to where you want to be, then people will shoot you. And if
Mhm.
you move to where you don't want to be, then you have to move again next turn anyways.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
I
lose
it's just
lose.
I think it's pre-planned setup. Like if you can go to ball mode to set up like I'm a maniac. When I run these things, I like long range comms on them specifically for this reason because if I can
Hmm.
get a point of attack where I can ball mode and then out pip you and then give them the orders, then I'm right behind your lines and I have full shield, so I'm gonna go for that pin shot. That's the way
Yeah.
I play them. So to me, if you're gonna give me search to crit on and on if you're gonna give me search to crit and drop my points, and I'm gonna play the same way that I play normally, which is that flanking pivot maneuver with long range comms, like I don't need like a HQ uplink. I don't need a link targeting array. I'm just gonna rely on search to crit, and their
The
dice pool's decent, especially if you get them behind cover.
the bias in
So
me wants them to drop to 55. And I'm gonna run 3 of these. That's 10 health each, 30 health. Yes. Please do
I
that.
I would rather see I would rather see them not dropping points. I would like to see them. I would say search to hit, and I would give them shielded. They have shielded one, right? They get one back after every round.
Generator 1, yeah.
I would
Yeah.
rather have them have generator two, because once you lose those shields, whether it to be the ion or just a massive pool, because they're not armored, and the dice once again it comes back to the dice pools we are throwing now. It's not hard to shred those four shields. So I
That's
feel
why
like regenerating one afterwards is kind of like not as impactful as if you're getting to regenerate two, especially since they don't get cover from the barricades anymore.
I think
Maybe.
you give them surge to hit or surge to crit because these guys, you're never giving them order. These guys are just shooting. They're just
Yeah.
there to tank hits. And in my opinion, when you go against really good players, they're not shooting at your Druidicas ever.
Nope.
Not threat. So they say Lucas thinks we should give General Grievous some drop points.
Yeah,
He said
absolutely.
yep. He said
Same
for
reason as
Just
the
make
Wookiees.
Grievous free. And I
Yeah.
still don't.
Yep. I'll run him.
Dude.
The other
He
problem
started
that
out as
Grievous has, though,
175.
is his courage is only 2.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get there. Like Mando has trouble getting there with courage 3, and he can jump. So I don't know. I feel like
It's
Grievous
thematic
might need to
though.
get boosted up to courage 3 or get
Yes.
like Dauntless or something because it's just hard to cover that ground with courage 2, not being able to go over anything anymore. It's no good.
I would just love not to have to run endurance. So that would be
What
Yeah.
about
amazing.
making his gun? What about making his gun free
No,
to
his
free
gun's
up those
fine.
points?
His gun's like even if the
No,
points
no,
is
but
run out.
instead of giving him like an 8 points cut, like drop his weapon. I just feel like he's come down from 175. What is he at now? Like
Like 155.
155 something.
I don't.
crazy.
I just don't see. I don't see an amount that's players are just going to take him over the super attack. They're not going to take him over the regular attack droid. They're not going to take him over, Kalani, Kraken. Like
If you
there's
drop,
no.
yeah. If you make him the same point as Kraken, you're gonna see Grievous on the table.
Yep.
Like even
Even though
courage
Kraken
too.
provides more flexibility with his keywords.
He's
talking
just
about
he's a threat. Like
Yeah.
Grievous is a threat once he gets
I'm not
into your
saying he's
lines.
not, but
Like A-Help, Red Save,
Kraken's
like
a threat.
He's evaded.
Kraken's good.
I was gonna say he's pretty much an A-Help Red Save unit that has Relentless that can potentially double move. Once he gets in, he starts wrecking face, and he has Impervious on that matter.
Yeah, but Kraken can get in, wreck your face, and help his army out. Like
It's
with
not the
his
same
keywords.
wreck your face though.
Yeah,
It's like wreck your face a little bit.
How many times have you seen Kraken actually be used for melee and everything? Like in my opinion, the super attacks are all very good support units for your army. They're not like Kraken. It's hard for me to take Kraken over Kalani because Kalani does the job better than Kraken. I actually think Kraken needs to be lowered in points in my opinion.
The Kraken that I've played, I think I played Kraken like 2 or 3 times, and the problem is I play gunline, so I just don't let you get near me.
Thanks for reassuring that we need more line of sight blocking.
I'm fire supporting over cover.
Yeah, like gun lines are the meta, and this is the problem. But moving on from the CIS, we got Republic and Wookiee Warriors, Kashyyyk Resistance, and the Wookiee Warriors dropping points. I think we all agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
The ATR team drop points.
I think it's fine. I just used 3 of them. I think it just comes down to what you're playing with. I played them with Cody. They're fine.
But I mean,
yeah, I think these stats are a little bit skewed because Cody hasn't been able to be at tournaments yet. Cody with the ATRT, I think is going to be a lot better than the ATRT without Cody. So
yeah, it's.
I'd be curious to see how that shifts on its own.
Yeah, no, it's fine. They're fine. I had them with the guns, and yeah, they're fine.
Then we got Rex. Yeah, I'm cool with dropping points on Rex.
He probably needs a drop. Yeah.
Make his jetpack free.
Yeah,
that's it.
That could be interesting, actually. I think that'd be fun. Give him basically jump.
Yeah. And then the last one is infantry support platform drop points. I don't play it. So. Yeah, I think the ISP is still an undervalued unit that people are just sleeping on. Like I think it's really good, and I think with Cody it's going to be even better. But yeah, I think people are sleeping on it.
They should have had the Saber get a points cut, man. The Saber tank needs more love.
I think the Saber tank is going to do. I think the Saber tank, if Darks get nerfed, I think the Saber tank will see action with Cody.
Yeah.
I actually have a Cody Rex Saber list at 9x, and it looks pretty good.
Cody Rex, huh?
The Saber has LTA, and it has an order every round from Cody. So it has an order every round, aim every round. It's loaded for impact. Like the Saber and Cody, I think is good. I wanted to put Rex back on the table. I miss Rex. And I feel like Cody provides the opportunity to bring a heavy hitter with him being the long range, the Saber being the heavy hitter, and Rex, like JR said, just operating things in the middle. You want to get close. If you can squeeze past Cody and a Saber, well, now you got Rex in range 2 that's gonna buff up everything. And I want to see Rex back. Rex did so dirty, and it's not his fault. It's Dash's fault. But Rex did so dirty. Anything that gets Rex back on the field, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Then we got Din, reduce points and reduce the Beskar Spear. And I agree with the Beskar Spear. In my opinion, I think the Beskar Spear is better than the other one, but I understand why other people take the other one. Like, you could just destroy with the Beskar Spear, but
You got me
honestly,
on the Beskar spear train, so I'll
Yeah,
take that cut.
I agree with the cut to the Beskar spear. I don't think it should be more expensive than the rifle.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like they're fairly even in melee. Like the Beskar spear is slightly better dice, but it's not more dice.
But see, the thing is, like, if you don't give Mando an order, you get the aim for Pierce, and then you get the dodge from immune to Pierce, which I think is better thematically. But I understand people are more scared of force push, and that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Well, you're scared. What the problem is at that point, you're vulnerable to force push and you're vulnerable to disengage. So there's almost no way that he can stay in melee. At least with the Ambam, you can keep somebody with you.
Mhm.
Do you guys think Din should have came with the whipcord? Because
He,
Sabine
Uh,
has
he
it.
never had the whipcord,
He
did he?
doesn't really use it.
He
Yeah.
uses it. He
When?
uses the whipcord. He used it against Ahsoka.
Against
What?
Ahsoka?
Yeah, in the Ahsoka, I thought he used it against Ahsoka. He has a whipcord.
If he
He
did, I
has.
don't remember it.
I don't
He
remember
has
him
a.
either.
I believe he has it because he also. I think he also used it to get onto the sand barge in season 1.
We're gonna fact check you next week.
No,
Let's see.
Maybe.
yeah, I'll look into it because he jumped on. He jumped on to the.
But that's
Ah,
not a ripcord though. When you like shooting something
yeah,
to go up something.
it's his
That's
whipcord. That's he. Yeah, it's a whipcord, man. It's a
oh.
fucking. So Mandalorians have whip spears now because they all use their whipcords to get onto that giant lizard flying thing.
I'm not a Mando.
Which was weird because they had jetpacks. I don't understand what's going on there.
But they needed the fuel.
I
Remember?
was not a fan of that scene.
I love that scene.
Can't relate.
Anyways,
or
do
how
you
about
think?
or how about
Do
the
you think
scene?
he?
Hold on. How about the scene where they're flying after that guy and then that dragon, and then they're just like, "This is where we stop." Like, so why'd you waste all that fuel?
Yeah, he's like, I'm out of fuel. No,
How did you know?
I'm just saying. I think Mando. I don't want a point because right here he wants a points cut to Mando as well as the Beskar spear. I don't think Mando needs a points cut. I like where Mando's at, and I run fully loaded Mando. So if I think I can live with fully loaded Mando and not a points cut for to him in general. Beskar spear, yes. I just think that if he had I think he should have had a whipcord to like help with that disengage stuff, like helping like whipcord on Sabine. If you pay the 5 points, yeah, or is it 5 or 10?
It's
Regardless,
fine.
Yeah.
when you have the whipcord on Sabine, I've never had a situation playing Sabine where I left without the whipcord, and sometimes the whipcord has been like more clutch than the dark saber in my playthroughs. So and, you know,
It's very
Boba has
good.
a whip. Boba has a whipcord on his command card. Sabine has it as an upgrade. I just think that Din should have had a whipcord, and I think that kind of helps him with that disengaged scenario.
I agree. Moving on to the Empire. This right here is, I think, is the best change that they can give. This is my favorite one, and I hope
I was
this
impressed
yeah.
with this. I
Yeah.
hadn't thought of this. I'm very
Yeah,
on board
Same,
for the change.
same. So
I'm down.
So he thinks the E-Web Heavy Blaster should have long shot 1, and yes, that's what it's missing. That is right there the problem with the blaster, and I feel like you give that, it solves the issue right there.
So just a hit or crit? I forgot.
It surges the crit.
What?
Okay,
It's
yeah.
crit, yeah,
Because
yeah.
when you spend the aim for a long shot, you don't get the reroll. You just get the
Yeah,
extended.
you
Yeah,
just
you just
spend the
get-
aim.
which,
yeah.
I mean,
So I
you
was
can
like
combo
trying to
that
figure
with,
out if it was crit.
yeah, you can combo that with Veers. There's ways to give you more aim.
Empire does a good job of passing you extra
Yeah,
aims.
yeah. So I like this. I hope this change becomes reality. That's a good change.
That would be a great change.
Yeah.
Veers and Krennic drop points.
I don't agree with Veers. I think Veers is fine.
Veers is solid.
I think things are overshadowing Veers, in my opinion. Krennic probably because
Krennic's rough because he doesn't have anything to do. His command cards are really good, but like he has nothing to do. Like he doesn't have his actions are usually burnt because he can't shoot because his range is only 2, and he can't like pass tokens unless you pay extra points to give him something to do that.
Binoculars.
Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know, like he's supposed to be a support commander, but he has no actual support actions to take. He's just kind of there. He's like, yeah, guys, I'm here for the command hand.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's good. I think that's fine because his command card, his command hand,
They're
is
great, but it
clutch
makes him a boring
sometimes.
unit to play. So I don't know. Yeah, he might need to come down in
He's
points.
pretty much like a generic commander you take, but most generic commanders
Even the
actually do
generic
something.
commander can pass out a
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. I don't think I mean I do agree reduce the points, but like I don't think you reduce the points until you make Death Troopers get a grade again, because like that's the only reason why you bring Krennic is for the command hands and Death Troopers. That's it.
Yep. And
Uh,
cunning.
and
But yeah.
I love the Entourage of the Empire thing so much. I think that's so
Do you think
cool.
giving him like I don't know, like an extra keyword or so changes that?
I mean
Maybe.
maybe bolster, maybe, but here's the
A
hard
bolster
thing
could be interesting.
is
Yeah.
that it's hard to give bolster to red save units or red save
Yeah.
armies, you know?
Yep. It'd be cool because then he would synergize well with the shore troopers too. So that'd be kind of fun. He's got
You think
bolster for the shore
bolster?
troopers. He's got the free order for the death troopers. Like that'd be kind of fun.
I don't think bolster would be that bad in Empire because it's not like bolster is in Gar where you can share aims, you can share these things. Like if you bolster a unit that let's say you bolster a unit, 2 units of shores, I might not shoot them because they have that bolster, and that
Yeah,
might
but
help
shorts
you.
can use it
But
offensively too.
yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, it's not a guarantee. Whereas
It's true.
if you have two commanders and guard and you bolster both times, that's 4 surges that can be shared amongst the army. That's a bigger thing than Krennic having bolster.
But I think the bolster keyword in general is good on this on CIS and clones. I think it's fine. It should probably only be
It's
there
crazy good on CIS.
because
I'm impressed with
it's
that.
not on good on CIS because that's a white save army where it's more impactful on the clones. But at the same time, you pay premium, so it makes sense why those keywords are there. So yeah, so that's the article. Those are the changes Lucas would like to see.
Great article.
Yeah, great article. I think I agree with a lot of these. I'd like to see a lot of changes. We're supposed to be getting errata in May. So at the end of
Is
May.
it May? Did they say May?
Yeah, they said
at the end
end of May.
End of May. So hopefully we'll see some good stuff.
Ahsoka's gonna come out, and the next week they're gonna nerf her. Too strong. Plus 20 points.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we finish this, can we go over just like the faction game separation? Like I thought that was interesting.
That's a
Ryan in our Discord brought that up. Yeah. So when Lucas broke down the overall win rate, he also broke down the total games. So the way he had it was Empire with 0.56 with 1,045 games. And this is over. I think he had his notes in there. It's like 20 something tournaments. So this is good sample size. Shadow Collective was behind them with 0.53 and only 293 games. Republic was third with 0.48 and 668 games. Separatists, the mighty have fallen. We're in fourth with 0.49 and 566 games. And this is the crazy part. Rebels had only a 40.43 win rate, and they played 700 games. So I think if anybody needs something, yes, JR, it's blasphemy. It's Rebels and CIS.
Well, honestly, like I said, I think CIS is still the most balanced faction, and I think it got indirectly like nerfed because of everything that the Empire got.
Yeah.
But Rebels definitely you can see 700 games, and they needs love
at the bottom.
The Empire one though, I feel like is a little skewed because I think we have more people that love Empire and play Empire.
Yeah, I think no matter what you do, Empire's still going to be the most played.
So you think it's fandom? It's fandom plus
yeah.
All things being equal, I would be playing Empire, and I like the other factions a lot. I like the other factions' mechanics more than I like Empire's mechanics. But I mean,
I just like the way I painted the way I painted my Empire makes me want to play them. Not the way they are.
Don't worry. I think CIS is still in a good spot. I just think a lot of things are overshadowing it.
I think also CIS has trouble dealing with big dice pools, and because
exactly
that's what the meta is. Like B1s,
they
just
how
disappear.
Do you change that?
My B1s get one shot all the time.
Yeah.
It feels terrible.
It's horrible. It's not.
You pick up 8 white dice. You're like, come on, guys, get one.
Just one. Just one. Oh, I got 2.
I don't. Like I said, I don't know if you need to fix CIS. I think you just nerf the things that are too powerful, and I think you'll see them climb back up the ladder.
Or buff B2s.
Yes. Give them coordinate, and there solves the problem. Give them
that would be kind of broken. Coordinating B2s would be pretty.
Stop the cheating.
Okay. Here's the thing, and I know you love this keyword and you never see it used, Jose. AI makes them bad. And the reason why the B1s are so dominant is because they can coordinate. I feel like if a unit in CIS has coordinate, it should have AI. If it doesn't have coordinate, it shouldn't have AIs. That's my
But
opinion.
see,
Interesting.
AI on B1s is bad because you only have one option. So when you trigger AI on a B1, you get a whack attack pool either in melee or shooting. My problem with AI is simply not that it's the AI on B1s is perfect. That's how it should be. One thing only. My problem with CIS, and it's an age-old argument that I've always had, is that when you have and or, when your AI is move or dodge, 99% of the time you're gonna move or dodge anyways. When I
Not
think
if you're a
that
sniper team. You
I
were gonna
think
aim and shoot, and
yes,
neither of
but
those are your AI.
yes.
So
But what I'm saying is like I'm just saying I think AI should be limited to like a one of AI attack, AI move. It makes it more punishing if you can't get to that, and it
They
makes
s-
you have to network around it. I don't
they
like the
usually
Orzic Droidica
specifically pick the keywords so that they're damaging, right? Because like if you look at the droidicas,
is a
it's AI attack
move or shoot.
move because you want to aim because that's what you want to do with your first action. You don't want to
Once you're
move.
set
You don't want to
up,
shoot.
once
you
you're set
can't, you
up,
can't.
but
No, you have to dodge or move. Like that's what I like about AI is that you can't aim, and that's how it should be because these are just robots shooting mindlessly. So I like the fact that they don't get to ever aim, and that should be okay. It's not good when you don't have coordinate, and as you see, coordinate is so dominant in CIS that nothing else gets played because of that. Perfect order control. I would
It's
either
so
like,
good.
yeah, I would like to see perfect order control on other units, or just make them lose AI.
I'm curious to see what they do with the Geonosians. I think it could be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
It might
Um,
help CIS break
I
away
mean
from that a little bit.
they thought AI on the B1s was so bad they created a droid to get rid of it that never even sees the light of day.
It doesn't get rid of it.
Because there's
Yeah,
well for the turn you get to get rid of it.
no.
But
What it does is the
It
allows you to go range 1 to 2 accordingly.
coordinate further.
no,
You
but
talking about
one of
attack
them
series?
Oh, the security droids.
no security
Yeah,
droid. There you
Oh
I
yeah,
go.
love
yeah.
security droids.
So
I run
so
security droids.
they added a security droid. You paid for a model
Yeah,
that a model that came out later just completely voided out that model
Speaking of that,
because oh good.
sorry, I know I interrupted you. I would like to see that on a B2. Like,
oh, like a security droid,
yeah,
I would be
security
okay
droid.
with
You
a
know what
that.
I'm saying?
one-time use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would be okay with
yeah.
that. I could be
That
okay with
I
that.
think that would be more impactful because, like I said, the AI thing is killing a lot of them.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna finish this out, round this out, but I want to
Yep.
hit you guys with a couple rules questions.
All right.
Uh, what is the order when I use force barrier? If someone shoots an ATST with impact, can I force barrier 2 normal hits and then apply impact?
Ooh, what's the wording on force barrier?
Oh, good question.
You get to block 2 hits or 1 crit.
It is when another friendly trooper unit at range 1 is defending against a range attack during the modified attack dice step, cancel either 1 crit result or up to 2 results.
So what the question is asking is
Yeah, if
if
someone
that
shoots an ATS, if someone shoots at my ATST with impact, can I force barrier 2 normal hits and then apply impact?
you
I
mean
think
can
that defense goes second, right? The attacker does their stuff first, and the defender does their stuff
apply
during
cover and
modify
dodge.
attack dice.
It's apply cover dodge, then you modify your attack.
Well, but
Is
we're
how it
in the
normally
modify
goes.
attack step.
So if he's, I would think that the force
I think you
power would
go
happen
after.
first.
I think that impact happens first.
Okay.
I think it happens. I think force barrier happens first.
This is actually a trick question. You cannot force barrier an ATST, only the troopers.
Ah,
But he did answer it.
right.
Yeah, he said if a trooper unit did have armor 1, the person that's attacking gets to modify all their dice first. So impact would go first,
Got it.
and then barrier would then come in.
Yeah, that's how it works for dark troopers.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Okay.
I was
So
focused on the card.
what I love about
Yeah,
Pierce
me too.
is you could choose to use it or not, even after dice are rolled, which is so amazing. If I do choose, let's say I'm shooting at a unit that have Pierce 3, and this unit has Impervious, I then decide to use none of my Pierce. Does it get to use Impervious?
Yes.
No.
Because you
Dan?
still had Pierce in the attack roll. So I'm gonna say yes.
I'm gonna say no because you didn't apply Pierce to the pool.
So that Daniel is correct. If even those you didn't use it, it's still in the keyword, so you still get to use Impervious for that reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just let me roll free dice.
And then the last one is when you base a miniature, it says under move into melee, if the opponent's unit has at least one more mini with a melee unit, then opposing players move all of their own miniatures in that unit. So I base a guy in your unit, you get to recohere around me.
Mhm.
That is classified as moving, right? Is that considered a move for standby?
What do you mean? So you moved? You're talking about you moved into my
No.
unit, and then I cohered around you. Does that trip a standby?
Like it trips your standby. So that unit had a standby. I then go into that unit with Grievous, but then you get to recohere. Does that recohere cause
No, the standby is triggered the minute your base touches my
Right.
base because you moved in.
You guys are both correct. You cannot trigger a standby off of cohesion if the other person initiated the melee. But all right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out the Discord. I'm going to take some polls on what we talked about today. But yeah, you guys have a good night. See you guys later.
You guys can tell Jared how he's wrong.
All right.